from the Figure 4 Online Studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington, exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com. You're listening to the Bryan and Vinny Show with your hosts, Bryan Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
All right, everybody, it's the Bryan and Vinny Show here, June 19, 2018, figure4online.com/wrestlingobserver.com. That's Cliff's newest masterpiece right there. I forget what it's called. Secret, I believe. It'll be available soon on iTunes, I'm sure.
I don't see why not.
Yep. It's the Bryan and Vinny Show with no Craig here today. We started an hour late, so Craig was unavailable. Went to watch Whitney do her first public speaking event as the Whale Scout director, so that was a lot of fun. She did awesome. Much better talker than, for example, Coach. It's another matter entirely.
I'm glad we cleared that bar.
Yeah. And nobody will give a shit about this except Vinny, myself, and Tony, but this is the last fucking day it's going to be this hot in this goddamn room.
Good.
Yeah, it's fucking hot in here. And then we had a heat wave, and it's still fucking hot.
It's also hot outside is the key.
I know, but here's the thing. You remember, like, a few years ago, I started thinking about this, because I didn't think about it till I started thinking about it. Okay?
I'm sure you didn't.
It's only been mildly hot, and so the house hasn't been too hot, okay?
Okay.
But we finally have a fucking heat wave, and I'm like, why isn't the house getting any cooler? Oh, we have central air conditioning in this house. So I remembered back to those days, I don't know, 5 years ago, back when everybody used to come over for pay-per-views, and remember we didn't have blinds?
Yes.
And the sun would blare into that fucking living room window?
Yes.
And I'd crank the AC, and what would happen?
I don't remember.
The fucking house would cool off.
I see.
Now we've got blinds. Everything in this fucking house, the blinds are down everywhere. I've been blasting the AC. This house ain't getting any cooler. So it struck me, maybe there's something wrong with the AC. Who would ever thought?
Did you look into this?
Yeah, I called Bob's Heating and Air. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give them a plug now, because if they fuck this up, they're going to get a reverse plug. They'll get my Twitter rage. But anyway, they're going to come and they're going to clean the ducts tomorrow.
That sounds good.
Which have never been cleaned in this house.
How long have you lived here?
It's been a while, Vinny. Don't worry about it. But they say that the ducts should be cleaned every 1 to 5 years.
Well, I'm sure it's longer than that.
It's been a little longer than that.
Yeah.
So we got the duct guy coming tomorrow to clean the ducts. And then we have an air conditioning guy scheduled for Monday. So if the guy cleans the ducts and it's still not working, then the AC guy can come and he can just fix everything. So one way or the other, this room is going to be nice and cool.
You know,
really soon.
I've kept my mouth shut about it because I knew complaining wouldn't actually do anything. But I can't tell you how many times we've been sitting here sweating under these Klieg lights, and you always say the AC's cranked.
Yeah.
I've always thought,
well,
something. These dots are not connecting.
You should have said something.
I guess
because the AC was cranked.
Yeah.
I really found it was an issue when, like, the thermostat downstairs, like, it's hotter in this house than it's ever been in the entire time I've lived here. Yeah. And trust me, we've had hot summers before. Yeah. Something's wrong. The AC also runs all night long and can't cool the house. Clearly, we got an issue. So,
well, thank you for solving it.
Well, you know, it's important for the listeners too, because you're I was almost going to say fat, but I don't like to make fun of your weight. But you're
yes, you do.
Heaving, thick, sweaty
this show
head.
is built.
I'm trying to be a new man, Vinny. I'm a dad now. Oh, fine, I'll say it. Your fat head, covered in sweat, is sickening to the viewers. Okay? But it's not just you.
There you go.
It's me, too.
Yes.
I'm sitting here drenched in fucking sweat. I haven't even started talking about Nitro. I can only imagine what's going to happen. And you had Craig's huge body in here. That's 300 more. There's a 300-pound furnace over there on Tuesday nights. I can't take it anymore. So I'm going to solve this problem. Now let's get going here because it's getting fucking hotter with each passing second here.
Oh, we got two horrible shows to talk about.
We sure as shit do. Boring as fuck. Bad. No redeeming qualities on either show.
Let's get into it. WCW Monday Nitro number 196, June 21st, 1999.
Now, this is a very important show. You want to know why? There's only one thing of any value that I'm going to talk about here on this show, okay? So, last week, a Hummer ran into Kevin Nash's limo. Or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, okay? It was a white Hummer. So, yes, it was a white Hummer. That's what I'm getting at, Vinny.
Yes.
So, this week, a black Hummer shows up.
Yes.
And black Hummers keep showing up. And so now it's like the Bernstein Bears.
I was going to say, yes.
Yes. What do they call it? The Mandela effect?
That works
now
too, yeah.
everybody remembers a black Hummer. Who drove the black Hummer? There was no fucking black. It was a white Hummer. But because of this show and every show thereafter, it is getting to people's head that the Hummer was actually black.
So what you're saying is throughout the summer and fall of 1999, Nitro gaslighted us. They told us a lie so often we started to believe it.
Well, I think that they can't remember.
That's also possible.
But so now we're stuck thinking it's a black Hummer.
Well, on this show, it was in fact a black Hummer.
And one other thing. This show opened with a Master P concert, which was edited off Nitro.
Good.
So if you're wondering why the show was shorter,
Yeah.
and you're celebrating that fact,
I was.
You can thank Master P.
I hope he does a concert every week.
So do I. Hope it's a show-long concert next week.
So yes, a black Hummer arrived. Out steps Randy Savage and his crew. They don't notice a 40-foot limousine pulling up behind them. Time passes. Kevin Nash gets out of the limousine. He runs after the Hummer, which suddenly drives away. I was hoping he would try to keep up with it, but no. We're one segment in. I already have no idea what the hell is going on.
Well, he wants to find out who drove the Hummer because it tried to kill him. Why is that difficult to figure out?
Why? I don't know.
Why his plan was, I'm going to show up in a 40-foot fucking limousine.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't be seen.
Why not hire a guy to take
leap out?
pictures of all the cars that come in and get the license plate? That took me no thought.
Yeah, Vinny, but that's a coward's way to do it. I'm just telling you.
Clips from the pay-per-view. They recap the whole Kurt Hennig angle. It started with him getting an autograph from Master P, but then breaking the CD in front of his face. And then all the bullshit with the Cowboys and the Rappers in the match that evening. Lenny Lane and Lodi did a horrendous promo.
Oh my God, I loved it. It's just fucking ridiculous.
I've never seen two men who can't act like this.
Well, yeah. And they were supposed to act like they were gay.
Yes.
Yeah. A bunch of sexual innuendos.
Double entendres throughout.
Lodi shows
Back
up and
rubs.
rubs his shoulders.
Yeah.
Lenny talks about his staying power.
Stamina.
His stamina.
Yeah.
It's preposterous, but I loved it. It's just ridiculous.
I can see this would be in the category of so bad it's good.
Yes.
I can accept that. Psychosis versus Kidman. I don't know if it was just me noticing this or if who was ripping off who here, but Psychosis looked like he had just watched a bunch of Sabu matches right before coming out there. He's doing the Arabian press, does the jumping top rope Rana like Sabu used to do, the spinning kick off the top rope. Kidman did a big dive. The announcers compared him to Vince Carter, who I just want to point out 19 years later, Vince Carter is still playing in the NBA. Which is pretty amazing. So they go to the finish. Kidman goes up for the shooting star press. And Psychosis like half rolls out of the way. Like he just rolls onto his side. But he won't roll away. He won't roll any closer. And finally, Kidman comes down with a stomp. And then Savage and his crew run out for the DQ.
Well, I think what was supposed to happen was...
I assume Savage was late.
Yeah, him and Sid were just taking their sweet-ass time down the aisle.
Yes.
And Kidman looks like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Running DQ in this match. The announcer spent the entire match talking about this fucking Hummer and who might be driving the Hummer. And if you notice, Tony says the first reports we got were that it was a female. So they wanted you to believe that it was Sable, who showed up last week on television. And then, of course, WWE threatened to litigate. Mm-hmm. And so WCW claimed, well, she bought a ticket. We didn't know she was going to be in the front row with security.
Yeah.
Just a coincidence. And then Sable told USA Today that she bought a ticket on her own because she wanted to go to the event and find out if WCW was as raunchy as WWE. It was not, she said. She couldn't watch television.
No.
She had to fly to the town,
Yeah.
hire security, get a front row seat, and sit there on camera. So anyway.
I can't blame her. So Sting runs out. Savage and Sid bail before he can get there. And this brings Nash out, and he's all suspicious. How come, Sting, that you were in a black Hummer last week when you beat up Rick Steiner? How come you come down to the ring and Savage and Sid leave before you can lay a finger on him? Sting says, I didn't drive the Hummer. Nash says, I'm not accusing you of anything, but if you did drive that Hummer, you have to deal with me.
I gotta say one other thing about this match here. So Savage and Sid run in, they beat up the cruiserweights. And like this was a big scandal here in the 90s. These cruiserweights, they just make them look like geeks. It's very fascinating watching wrestling in 2018 because WWE makes their mid-carders and higher look like far fucking bigger geeks than these guys on a regular basis.
Yes.
How many fucking geeks did we have on that pay-per-view? They made Asuka into a geek. Mm-hmm. Times have changed.
Times have changed. Flair and Piper are hanging out backstage.
This was awesome.
Flair says we should do Sid and Savage versus Nash and Sting for the next pay-per-view. Piper says let's do Sid and Sting on TV tonight for free.
You're underselling these two guys being completely out of their minds. We got now Crazy Flair and Crazy Hot Rod. They're going nuts. They're complete clowns. Roddy comes up with the idea of Sting versus Sid, and Flair has a conniption fit. He's never heard such a great idea in his life. I love this segment. I'm liking a lot on this show so far.
We're on a roll. They showed Buff Bagwell pinning Flair in an 8-man tag last week.
That was good.
Lenny Lane versus Ming. Ming's permed mullet was in fine form. So they're doing this match. Lenny goes up top. Ming wasn't down or stunned. He was just in the ring. So as Lenny exits the ring and is climbing, Ming has to like look around and just shout and bark like Ming does. And then once Lenny gets up there, Ming walks up. He grabs him by the chin and does a Tongan death grip press slam for the win.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That's all I got out of this.
Yeah, this was just Ming killing the guy. It's probably Lenny's best match ever.
It may have been.
It's not saying much. And Lodi was very sad about all of this.
The announcers recap Sting popping out of the Black Hummer last week. And then Master P and the No Limit Soldiers hit the ring.
This segment. This was horrific.
It was Silk the Shocker's birthday.
Silk the Shocker.
Yes.
That's Master P's little brother.
Yes, and years later he would do MVP's theme song.
Really? I did not know that.
Did,
wow.
yes, yeah.
How about that?
So they decide it's a good idea to grab a fan and an afro wig, have him come in and sing Happy Birthday.
Am I the only one that thought that was Disco Inferno?
I figured it had to be somebody.
Yeah.
Something was going to happen.
It was just a fella.
A fan.
Yeah.
He sang badly and quietly. They all said, hootie hoo. Kurt Hennig comes out.
We'll get into hootie hoo. Don't worry, Tony.
Yeah, if it makes you laugh.
I did some fucking research.
You're going to enjoy
we'll
this.
Get into it.
Kurt Hennig comes out with a gift. And there's like 50 guys out there. So clearly he's no threat. They allow him into the ring. Kurt apologizes for dropping the CD at that other show.
Master P has no idea what Kurt Hennig's name is. He just keeps calling him Cowboy.
Cowboy. That's fine. We knew who he was talking about. So he asks if P will accept this gift, and Master P is suspicious. And he says, you open it. And it's a cowboy hat. And I'm pretty sure Kurt called Silk the Shocker Seth. It's just like Seth always wanted.
Yes.
So Silk
maybe that's his real name. I doubt his real name is Silk.
Or Shocker.
Or Shocker. It's unlikely.
So Silk takes the hat and he says thank you. Then he stomps on it. And they all throw cake on Kurt. And they all shout hootie hoo over and over again.
My fucking God.
And I hated this. I hated this until the end. Because first of all, these guys were assholes.
Kurt. This is the whole key here, okay? WCW, it's not completely stupid to think that the fans are going to like the No Limit Soldiers. They're with Ray and Conan, and they're going to hate Kurt Hennig. And so it is not completely ridiculous to presume that maybe the fans are going to boo Kurt Hennig for presenting Silk the Shocker with a goddamn cowboy hat, okay? So I can't really blame them too much for this, but the way that it came off because the fans hated these fuckers, largely because they kept going, hootie hoo! Kurt presents Silk with a custom-made leather cowboy hat.
He got him a gift.
That's a really nice, thoughtful gift.
A sincere gift, a peace offering.
Yes. And Silk even said, I've always wanted one. Mm-hmm. But then they pour cake all over Kurt. They beat him up like 12-on-1, humiliate him. Ungrateful shitheads. The No Limit Soldiers. And then they had to go hootie hoo again. If it wasn't bad enough.
When Kurt collects himself and he puts his hat back on, he's outside the ring, and he's facing down, brim down low. He's all flared up, covered in cake. Just covered in cake, solemnly walking up the aisle. I couldn't help but laugh at that. And everyone's going, hootie hoo! And Bobby Heenan says, what a party.
Yeah.
And I may have given that too much enthusiasm.
Yes, this sucked. This sucked.
Juventud Guerrera versus Eddie Guerrero.
So, 3 weeks ago, Eddie returned. Total babyface on commentary.
Yeah.
The nicest, most humble man you've ever seen. Now he's back, and he's a heel.
Yes.
And he works a long-ass match. Mm-hmm. He's like at, I don't know, 25% of Eddie Guerrero, which is still 50% better than everybody else.
Yes.
They have a boring-ass match. The crowd's dead. Eddie still looks awesome. And then he wins with the frog splash.
This was awesome for about 3 minutes, but unfortunately it went like 10.
Easy 10.
Yeah. And the crowd, there's a fight in the crowd that people were paying more attention to. Eddie hadn't wrestled in a while, so it's not like he was getting the piss chopped out of him, but he was still all red from Hoovy chops. And Hoovy did do a tope of death at one point, but then Eddie grabbed him by the neck and spun him around, and hit a frog splash for the win. I enjoyed it.
All you need to know is that the next match was Shat versus Prince fucking Iaukea. Okay, let me say that again. The Eddie Guerrero match was followed by Shat versus Prince Iaukea.
Yes.
There was so much more heat for Shat. He's out there dancing. They're booing him like crazy. They hate the guy. I mean, the match was fucking terrible.
Maybe they knew what was coming.
But dude, Shat got some heat. And he used the loaded red shoe again. At least he didn't fall down this time like an idiot. And you know another positive? We didn't have to listen to Eric Bischoff yell at the announcers about their karate knowledge.
That's true. That's true. There was no Bischoff on this show.
Thank God.
That's excellent news. So we had here a spot where Iaukea whips Cat into the ropes, and Cat just stops and super kicks him. Why don't all wrestlers just stop if you can do that then? And just kick the guy.
They don't have his karate balance.
They're brawling. You know what? That's actually a fair point. Yeah. That's a very good explanation. Then they're brawling on the floor, and Cat slams a beer or pours a beer in Iakea's face, and they're trying to do stuff out there, but now there's beer all over the floor. They're slipping all over the place. Cat hits the shoe-assisted kick for the win. Booker T versus Kanyon. 15 minutes plus a commercial break, and then DDP and Bam Bam run in for the DQ. Wasted so much of my time. A total waste of time. That's all this was. A long, long waste of time.
I'll rant about this later, but I will say that opens up with Kanyon saying, I'm going to beat up Booker T tonight, but I got a question for everybody. Who better than Kanyon? Dead silence. He just moves on. He didn't give a shit. Back in the day, he would do that and they would scream everybody and he would pitch a fit. Now they just don't even care. And yes, they went on and on and on. I'll give him a little credit. When Booker made his comeback, the crowd came to life. And then yes, DDP and Bigelow hit the ring for the shit DQ. I was furious at this point. Much more furious than I am right now recapping it.
It was terrible. So they beat up the ref. They hit Booker with a combo diamond cutter onto the belt. Logically, this would lead to Booker finding a partner and challenging for the tag titles, but I have no memory of that happening. I guess we'll see. Flair and Piper and the rest of their crew come out for a promo.
Remember like 4 months ago in 1999 or whatever, or maybe it was mid-98, I don't remember when it was, but maybe it was the summer of 98 when Viagra first came out,
yeah.
And there was a fucking Viagra joke on every show for like 3 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. I've never said this before, but I'm pretty sure that Flair like OD'd on Viagra before this promo. Flair's always talking about chicks riding Space Mountain. Mm-hmm. He couldn't stop.
That's all
he couldn't cut this promo. Every 3 words, he would stop and start calling out some woman or some guy and tell me he was going to fuck his woman.
Yeah.
I mean, nonstop for minutes on end. He couldn't quit. I don't even know what he was talking about here.
Well, I'll talk about Piper first. Piper spoke first and was actually coherent. He's mad about the Y2K kids.
He actually called them the Millennium Kids.
I didn't hear that part. Yeah.
Yeah, he was ahead of the curve.
Roddy Piper
he knew
coined-
what this generation would be called before they were called millennials.
He was sick of Buff Bagwell whining, made fun of his tan. So Gene asks Flair about partying in New Orleans, which is where they were tonight.
I do want to add that Roddy Piper said, Buff, you're a liar. You never beat Ric Flair. Even though, in fact, Buff beat Ric Flair clean in the middle last week.
And
I just loved it.
And they showed us.
These are great heels.
Flair, Piper, I will say this. I've forgotten how awesome Piper as a heel in WCW
Oh,
was.
man, he's way better.
Because the comedy's better. Because
Yep.
he's supposed to be crazy.
Yep.
Even his wrestling, his brawling with Benoit last week was like the best thing he did. It was
Not only
awesome.
that, he's paired up with Crazy Flair. So we have Crazy Flair and
Yes.
Crazy Piper together.
Yes.
How do I not remember this vividly?
I don't know.
This is the best act on the show right now.
So Gene asks Flair about what are they going to do in New Orleans after the show's done, and Flair first of all, he just can't stop smiling. He's silent.
Yes.
He's collecting his thoughts. He's overwhelmed with all the poon he's going to get that night on Bourbon Street. And then he just says there's either I got a lot of grandkids in this crowd, or there's a lot of women who still want to ride Space Mountain. Acknowledging several times in this promo that he's very old. He said, at my age, I may just drop dead. But if I do, it'll be on top of a woman. That's virtually a quote.
That is exactly a quote.
Yeah.
He almost died on Buff's girlfriend last night.
He made fun of Buff for eating chicken breasts and Diet Coke.
Yep, he said Bagwell's girlfriend called his room last night, wanted to know why they call Rick Space Mountain, but Bagwell was just Buff. And he said, I showed her why I almost died on top of her last night.
Yes. So Buff came out to fight him. And Buff's fighting Piper and Flair and even Arn. It's 3-on-1. And there's a ref there. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And then Flair had the decency to go through the formality of making this a handicap match.
Yes.
So it's Flair and Piper versus Buff Bagwell. Fine. So here was where it really, really sunk in and hit me what a complete disaster this 1999 Buff Bagwell babyface turn was.
Hey, he was over for a while here in this match. I mean, it was good for like 5 minutes, but then it went another 30.
We went back because Buff is thought of. Sad to say, Buff's legacy is the guy who killed the return of Nitro in one night in the match in Tacoma with Booker T.
Yes.
And we went back and started watching these Nitros in the beginning, and for a while, Buff was really, really, really good. Then he turned heel, had a whole new character, a little more comedy to it, but it was still very funny and entertaining. And then he hurt his neck, and we were trying to figure out why he didn't do the big babyface return then. And he came back, and he was just Scott Steiner's flunky for a long time, and now he's back as a babyface full-time wrestler, and he's just not very good.
No, he's an acceptable babyface,
He's
but
competent.
Flair's in there. Hey, I'll tell you one thing, though. So Flair's in there, and Flair and Bagwell is great. Flair just gives him everything. The place is going nuts. Piper's not nearly as good. He's still giving Buff a lot. So finally they cut the guy off. They work on him for like an hour.
Yes.
So then, who should come down to make the save for Buff Bagwell but Dean Malenko?
Let me stop you for a second. Before Dean comes out, Buff was so immobile by the end of this. I legit thought he'd hurt his neck again. Turns out he was just blown up and couldn't go anymore. Like they were trying to grab him by the head and pick him up. He would just lay there. So Piper does the best sell of a low blow of all time. I made a gif of it. I'll post it in the thread. And Dean runs out for this tag. I would like to think that they were watching this backstage and they thought, Jesus, Buff sucks. Malenko, get out there and save this match. And so Dean goes out in street clothes to try and save the match. So here's Dean in the corner now to be Buff's partner. So they get the hot tag, Dean does. And
Worst hot tag of his career.
Dude.
He fucked everything up.
It wasn't just him. Guys, they were all in each other's way.
Well, sure, but I mean, this is the Dean Malenko that he's begging to have the torch passed.
Yeah.
He's begging to be in the main event.
Yeah.
He's begging to be a top guy.
Yeah.
Finally, he's in there with Rick fucking Flair
Yes.
and Rowdy Roddy fucking Piper.
Yes.
And he fucks everything up.
All they had to do was a hot tag spot. Just whip, elbow, through a couple punches. That's all they had to do. They fucked up everything. This, by the way, lends credence to my theory this whole thing was an audible. Because you can't tell me that Dean Malenko, Ric Flair, and Roddy Piper could do this bad on just a hot tag unless there was some extenuating circumstances. So I think Buff hit a blockbuster, but I can't tell because the camera was zoomed in on Roddy Piper's hand deep inside his trunks. Eventually he pulled out a gimmick, Not that gimmick, Tony. He hit Buff with it.
I mean, we don't know. I never saw it. Maybe he has a detachable penis.
He hit Buff with the gimmick. Flair got the pin as Dean, who was now a legal participant, had Arn Anderson, who was not a legal participant, in the cloverleaf.
Yes.
This was a total disaster by the end.
A total clusterfuck. Made everyone look stupid.
Yes.
Well, mostly the baby faces, actually.
Yeah. But this is no good. Ray Jr. and Conan versus Dallas Page and Bam Bam Bigelow. So, I don't know how many No Limit Soldiers there are, but it felt like, seriously, by the end of this segment, at least 20.
Well, did you notice there's a new No Limit Soldier in Brad Armstrong?
Somebody figured out, we need a No Limit Soldier who can actually do matches once in a while. And nothing...
Besides Swole?
Besides Swole. And nothing screams No Limit Soldier like the Armstrong brothers.
Hell yeah, dude. Brad Armstrong.
So Brad Armstrong is now a No Limit Soldier. They're get the heat on Ray.
Yeah, because Conan and Ray versus DDP and Canyon.
Mm-hmm. Theoretically.
Didn't we just see a Canyon singles match that went like 5 hours?
Well, you will note here, this actually started as Page and Bigelow.
Oh.
And then it became Bigelow and Canyon.
Wow.
And then it became Bigelow and Page and Canyon. Yeah. So it was a 3-on-2 match, just with one guy always on the floor. Meanwhile, there's a literal army of soldiers around ringside. None of them were doing a damn thing about this. Blatant cheating.
Yes. So I might add, by the way, that last week we talked about how Conan is so much better in a tag team. All he has to do is stand on the apron, make a hot tag. Well, some fucker this week decided, I'll show them. We're going to get heat on Conan.
Yeah.
They beat the shit out of Conan. He can barely move. He's lying there half dead. I mean, the only good thing was they gave the tag to Ray, and he made a good hot tag. But this, Vinny, now I will address this match-length DQ bullshit. It's one thing to do it. I don't want to say it's one thing to do once in a show. If you're going to do a shit DQ finish, this match should be maybe 5 minutes. You make me sit through a fucking 15-minute match with 2 heats. They got the heat twice.
Yeah.
I sit through that fucking match for 15 minutes and you give me, it's not even a good DQ. It's a bullshit. Dudes run in for the fucking DQ. That's 2 on this show. Mm-hmm. Okay, I hit my limit after the second one. The first one sucked. This one, lazy, bullshit, infuriating. It's not even like a creative DQ where, a no-limit soldier throws in a gimmick or something, somebody gets it, the other guy gets it, the ref sees it, whatever.
It's just a guy runs in and attacks.
Dudes run in. That's the best you could fucking come up with after 15 minutes. Fuck you. I hate this show. Hope this company dies.
So the Cowboys hit the ring for a brawl. Saturn and Benoit join in. More soldiers come out from the back. More of these no-limit soldiers. There have been Royal Rumbles with fewer men that were in the ring in this segment. And they were all going, hooty-hoo!
Fuck this hooty-hoo! I'm going to tell you something about hooty-hoo. There's actually, believe it or not, Vinny, there is a Wikipedia entry for hooty-hoo. Now, I was unaware of this, but hooty is spelled with a D.
Okay.
So it's not hoot, like an owl. It's hood.
Like a hoodie.
Like in the hood. Uh-huh. Hooty-hoo.
Okay.
But they pronounce it hooty-hoo. So according to Wikipedia here, this music video was shot. Are you ready for this? The music video for Hooty-Hoo was shot in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, hey, how about that?
The video starts off with Master P, Silk the Shocker, and C Murder in a military base in the future. Also in the video, there are numerous occasions when female dancers are dancing to a white background. Wikipedia for you. Although there appear to be a large number of dancers, there are actually only 2 thanks to the use of computer graphics.
Wow. The future.
Most of the TRU members are wearing Ricky Williams' jersey since he was still playing for the New Orleans Saints in 1999. In 1999, when the video was filmed. Mm-hmm. This Nitro was in New Orleans.
Yes.
I think that they filmed the fucking Hooty-Hoo video this week.
They may well have.
While they were there doing this fucking WCW bullshit, and that's why they're hooty-hooing everywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, if they hadn't done that hooty-hoo, they might have got over better.
It couldn't have hurt. Yeah, it would have helped. And it's time for the main event.
I've got your bufferisms.
How about that? I only wrote down one, so go ahead.
You wrote the whole thing?
No, I only wrote down one line.
See.
It was about what he said about Sting, but go ahead.
This is for Sid Vicious. Standing 6 feet 10 inches tall and weighing 312 1/4 pounds, he's one of the cornerstones of the madness known as Team Savage, led by the Macho Man, Randy Savage. He is without a doubt one of the best big men in the history of the sport. He is the master of the vicious powerbomb. He is known for the vicious destruction of his opponents. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Sid Vicious. And now to Sting. Wearing black and silver. I apologize. Let me start over again. I don't want to mess up Buffer's prose.
He'll probably sue you.
Yes. Wearing black with silver, weighing 249 1/2 pounds, and standing 6 feet 2. This is a man known to professional wrestling fans the world over for his reluctance to join any faction or organization within the sport. He is the enigmatic warrior who marches to his own drum. He is the master of the Scorpion Deathlock. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the man known as Sting. Was he not in the fucking Wolfpack? Am I imagining things?
Oh, he was for a long time.
He was in the Wolfpack.
Yes.
Get your facts right, Buffer.
I like, before Michael Buffer introduces Sid Vicious and Sting, he says, "It is time for the main event of Sid Vicious versus Sting."
Yeah.
Okay, your job's done now, Michael.
No.
You can go home.
He's got to tell you that Sid is 6 feet 10 inches tall and weighing 312 1/4 pounds. He had a 1/4 pounder before the fucking show. It's important we know those details. And you know another thing about Sid I noticed during this match? He's 312 pounds and 6'10", and do you know what his style would be in the UFC? He's a fucking striker.
Well, yeah.
What?
Sid is not known for his takedowns or submissions.
Well, he could be known for like his power moves, slams,
He's got
throws,
one power move.
lifts.
2. He does a power bomb. He does a choke slam.
Yeah, all he does is
Otherwise,
he kicks,
He kicks.
he boots,
He does clubbering forearms.
he clobbers.
He does technically do chokes, so they will not be allowed in the octagon.
No. He is a striker.
Yes. So after all that intro, all that build-up, the
match.
the whole show long tease, they go like 3 minutes, and Randy Savage attacks with a DQ.
Bullshit.
Dude.
A fucking useless professional wrestling television
This is
show.
like a beautiful afternoon. We all could
Don't
sit
even
outside.
get me started, Vinny. Don't even get me started.
I gotta get a way to like download these on a tablet so I can in fact watch these while on a walk. That'd make me happy.
Dude, you can watch them on a tablet whenever you want, geek. Just play it.
Yeah, I gotta have Wi-Fi too.
Do you have like a phone?
I was talking about going to the park. I guess I could do it on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I just do it on the
Or
phone.
you stream from your phone to the tablet using your phone's cellular.
I don't think mine's set up that way.
I'm pretty sure it'll work.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I guess you have to set it up that way.
So Lex runs out with a chair to stand by Sting's side, and I swear to God, nothing happens for 3 minutes. They all look at each other. Someone eventually tells Savage, got a promo. Savage says he'll put Sting and Luger out of wrestling. Now Sid's got to get his promo in, and he starts talking. Suddenly they're up against the clock.
I kind of like Sid's promo. It was really shitty. That's what I've been waiting for. His horrible promos.
Do you have my music ready?
Would you like me to hit your music?
That was a good time.
All right.
The finishes on this show were a double DQ when both men were attacked. One clean pin, and it was by Meng. Pin after a kick with an illegal shoe. A DQ after guys had wrestled for almost 20 minutes and then dudes ran in. Pin after a gimmick shot. DQ due to run-in. DQ due to run-in. And then a DQ due to run-in.
Fuck you, Nitro.
There are more DQs than pins or submissions on the show.
No wonder Bischoff wasn't on this show.
That show sucked.
He was hiding.
In shame.
It wasn't shame. If not, he should know better and he should be ashamed. That was a shitty, fucking terrible show. And then Raw.
Another shitty, fucking terrible show.
Although there is a fact about this Raw show here. Did you know that on the pre-show, in a dark match, a man named Kurt Angle wrestled a match.
I was not aware.
He's coming.
He's coming.
By the end of this year, I think.
We actually do need a hero at this point.
Oh, fuck, do we? I think it's Survivor Series he shows up.
That sounds right. Retro Raw number 317, also June 21st, 1999. Triple H and China come out for a promo. Hunter is huge. He's just enormous. He calls out Undertaker, who comes out and they're about to fight when Vince McMahon and the Ministry run out to make peace.
So Hunter wants a match with the Undertaker. He wants to kill him.
Yes.
Okay. So Vince comes out and he just says, hold on a second. I'm going to talk for a while. Fucking Hunter just stands there like an idiot. This was dumb.
So Vince's first claim is that they're not going to crown a King of the Ring this year. They're going to crown a Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, he's trying to butter up Hunter.
And China will win. This is the go-home show for King of the Ring. And this line here, when Vince said China will win, is the only time on the entire program that anyone talked about winning the King of the Ring tournament.
You know, I didn't even realize this was the go-home show for the fucking... I mean, I knew it was for the pay-per-view, but I didn't know it was King of the Ring.
There are 3 people that I can tell you. I just watched this show, I guess it was last night, but within the past 24 hours, there are 3 people in this King of the Ring tournament I can tell you. China and Road Dogg are having a first-round match. They've done a decent job building up that first-round match. And I know Billy Gunn, spoiler, wins it, so he must be in it somewhere. That's all I can tell you. I don't know any of the matches. I don't know any of the other entrants. What? This is horrible. So Vince says China will win Queen of the Ring. Undertaker will crush Rock into oblivion. And it's time to talk about the ladder match with him and Shane versus Austin. He says they should hang everything above the ring and do a ladder match. Austin comes out with a ladder and a briefcase and beer. He says someday he will regain his title, but right now he's having fun being CEO. He's looking forward to beating up Vince and Shane. And Austin has an idea for a stipulation. No interference in this ladder match.
What a fucking crazy idea. He says if anybody from the Ministry interferes, they will be disqualified and he will end up with 100% control of the company. So Austin has 50. Vince has 50. Austin makes a stip, and Vince says, no. You can't make that stip. I'm going to make that stip, and the stip is anybody can run in. So finally, Shawn Michaels comes out to play Peacekeeper, because this doesn't make any fucking sense.
So Shawn's out there. He also has the associates with him now, Briscoe and Patterson.
Yes.
And so Shawn says to settle this, Steve Austin will face any member of the Ministry Vince chooses, and the winner will get to pick the stips. So Vince wants it to be Undertaker, then he wants it to be Hunter, but Shawn says, no, both those guys are already booked. Then he announces Taker will defend the title against Triple H tonight. And we're right back at square one. Now Taker and Hunter want to fight again. So Vince says, if I can't pick those two, then I shall pick the big boss man to face Steve Austin. To which Shawn replies, that's as good a choice as any. Strong endorsement. He makes himself special ref. Austin's music plays. Austin says, that's the bottom line, blah, blah, blah. Austin's music plays. They all start to leave. And Briscoe and Patterson grabbing Shawn dude, you forgot about us. So Shawn has to have them stop everything. He says, I have one more match to announce. It's Shane and Vince versus Briscoe and Patterson. Now hit my music. And then we got Shawn, Briscoe, and Patterson all dancing to Sexy Boy. That was awesome. So there you go.
So then the Ministry.
Oh, there's more. Sorry. Yep. There's more.
Shane and Viscera in the ring with Vince. Shamrock hits the ring, whacks Viscera with a chair. And
he chases.
I got to say something about this, okay? We're now going on for probably longer, but I've just really noticed and got infuriated about it. Every Raw show opens with them announcing 6 matches. Every one of them is bullshit. They're 2 minutes long with no finish. It's just a waste of fucking time, right?
Correct.
Okay. But you know what? They're doing sky-high ratings during this era. So my conclusion is that, if anything, it's proof that announcing the card at the beginning of the show is not hurting things. If anything, it's probably making people watch.
Probably.
So here we are in 2018. Maybe they announced 1 or 2 matches. Like on Raw last night, the main event, they made that match in the 3rd hour.
Oh, good.
Like, as a viewer tuning in at the beginning, you didn't even know what the fucking main event was. It could have been anything. Like, I hate this kind of TV because I'm not an idiot, and after like 3 weeks of it, I'm like, this is bullshit. I don't know why anyone watches. But the point is, they do watch. So maybe the lesson to be learned from these shit shows here is that if you just announce matches, fans are stupid enough to believe that you're not going to fuck them, even if you do it every single goddamn week.
So to recap here, we have Hunter coming out, Taker coming out, Vince doing a promo, Austin coming out, Shawn coming out, a bunch of back and forth, Shawn's music playing, Shamrock attacking Viscera. Here I wrote, anything else? And the answer is yes. Because now we have to see Jeff Jarrett meeting with Shawn backstage and refusing to go to the ring. Great. So they go to commercial and come back. Vince is giving his crew a pep talk, and somewhere in here, Mideon asks to borrow Shane's belt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, Shane's the prestigious European champion, am I correct?
Apparently.
Yeah, I forgot. I knew he had that belt.
I kind of remember this happening when the show was done. I kind of remember what went on, but I assumed he meant as there's a reason Vince likes to call them the championships.
You're supposed to think he's talking about a belt to hold his goddamn pants up.
Yes.
But he's actually talking about a championship belt.
Yes. Can I borrow your belt?
Which, by the way, the announcers have no idea what belt it is.
We'll get to it.
Even though it seemed pretty clear to me it was the European title.
We'll get to this. Ken Shamrock versus Test. But then before the match can happen, Jarrett, Deborah, and the Associates come out, and Patterson says Shawn has made this a 3-way for the IC title. So now it's Shamrock versus Test versus Jarrett. We had Test falling off the top rope and getting crotched, and it was not quite DDP versus the Machine from Thunder, but it was quite bad. And then Test fucked up a clothesline over the top on Jarrett. And then out comes Steve Blackman to attack Shamrock with a stick, and Jarrett gets the pin.
Let me talk about this Blackman guy. So Steve Blackman comes out, and this is a quote from the announcers. For some reason,
that's what they said.
King says, I don't know, JR. JR wants to know why he came out. King says, I don't know, JR, but you have to love it. And JR says, I don't have to love it. And then they do the finish. Even JR knows how much this fucking sucks.
So Shamrock tells the medics to stay away from him, and they show Blackman calmly walking out of the building. Rock versus Edge.
Yes.
Not nearly as exciting as that sounds.
Yeah, you know what? He was mega over. It was a good, quick match. It had a clean finish. If you think I'm bitching about this, think again.
No.
It's the only good thing on the show, really. And then Undertaker just randomly shows up and gives Rock a tombstone.
Yes. But at least they did the match first.
They did do the match first.
Rock was mega over. This goes in the category of dream matches that actually happened.
Yes.
Now, if you actually watch this match, it was not a dream match. It was a very average Raw match. But everyone loved Rock. He took 80% of the match, hit the rock bottom, the people's elbow, and won. Taker ran down and tombstoned him. The McMahons try to talk Hunter out of fighting Taker tonight.
Yeah. Vince is telling Hunter to take it easy on the guy. That could come back to bite him in the ass.
I guess so. Mark Henry versus Viscera in a Gorilla Slam match.
Okay, so listen. The rules of a Gorilla Slam match are, it's not a body slam. It's a press slam.
Yes.
You have to press your opponent over your head and drop him in order to win.
These men weigh 400 and 500 pounds.
Mark Henry and Viscera, okay?
Yes.
Now, I mean, this is ridiculous, okay?
Yeah.
And the finish was completely ridiculous because it's the most bullshit way to get out of a press slam, as we'll get into
there
here.
was a finish.
That's what I'm getting at. As big a load of bullshit as this was, at least they gave us a finish.
There was a point here.
But why couldn't they have just done a body slam match?
Or just do a wrestling match.
Because that would have sucked.
Well, it would have. This sucked.
It did suck in a different way.
There was a point here. Henry tried a body slam and hurt his back. And they did some stuff, and they do a double down, and the ref started counting them both out. Something in Money in the Bank, I think it was AJ Nakamura. The crowd started to murmur in fear they actually do another draw. This crowd thought, oh my God, they're not even going to give us a finish in a Gorilla Slam match.
Especially since there shouldn't be a double down in a Gorilla Slam.
No!
The rules are one guy's got a Gorilla. We could be here all night.
Yes. So Mark Henry, for some reason, goes to the middle rope, and Viscera grabs him and slams him down and wins. So he goes actually for a top rope splash, Viscera does, just to be mean. D'Lo runs out, and D'Lo and Henry do a double press slam off the top rope on Viscera. That is a huge bump for this man to take. Mideon runs out with a coveted, prestigious, honorable European Championship belt. And that's where I figured out how this whole thing went down. So yes, Shane was European champion. He never wore it on TV, but apparently still flew it around the country every week. And now Mideon just has it. Ross didn't even recognize it. He said, that's some championship belt. This sucked in every conceivable way. Speaking of sucking in every conceivable way...
No. Beaver and Mrs. Cleavage are standing there getting ready to do an interview for Beaver's upcoming match against Meat.
Yes.
Okay. So what's going to happen in this segment is Beaver suddenly turns and just says, I can't do this. And he takes his hat off and he walks off stage as someone screams, we're live, Chaz, which is his real name. Okay. He made sure that before he gave up on this gimmick forever, he nuzzled his face in Mrs. Cleavage's boobs one more time.
Well, it's part of the job, man. He's just doing his job.
This was bad. This was also bad in every conceivable way. Because, like, you had to wait till you were live to finally decide you can't do this anymore.
You spent all day at the building.
All the goddamn rehearsals.
Stupid shorts, the beanie.
And not only that, like, he mutters, I can't do this. And he just takes his hat off. And, like, it's not like they wait. It's not like the producer waits a sec to see what's going on. Like, the moment he says, I can't do this, they're, like, screaming, we're live, Chaz!
He takes one step.
Chaz, we're live!
There was a point later in the show we'll ever get to where somebody was, in fact, not supposed to be in a live shot. No one screams, we're live, Albert!
Dude.
This is so dumb and so bad. And so transparent.
And then... Okay,
may I?
We're supposed to believe this is a shoot.
Yeah.
What, you gonna come back? You want to talk about this?
I wanted to... you quoted Michael Buffer. I would like to quote Jim Ross.
Okay.
Jim Ross says with a straight face to the viewer at home, due to perhaps philosophical or creative differences, the Meat Beaver Cleavage match is not going to take place.
Yeah.
That's a grown-ass man telling me that.
I just loved that this is supposed to be a shoot. Right?
That's the idea.
They go to a goddamn commercial, and they come back, and they just start talking about it. Man, it looks like Chaz, he was sick of being Beaver Cleavage. He's decided he just can't do this anymore. He's walked off the set, everybody. We're not going to be able to give you the match we didn't promise. Beaver and Meat. It's not happening here tonight.
Sorry. Our apologies to those of you looking forward to the Meat Beaver Cleavage match.
Because, you know, it's very important that WWE gives you what you pay for.
Hey.
They must apologize
Bryan,
that Beaver and Meat is no longer taking place.
They don't do bait and switch.
No!
No.
If something like this happens, they got to apologize.
Steve Austin versus the Big Boss Man.
Shawn Michaels, special guest referee, comes out wearing a Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy shirt.
Yeah.
First off, I wonder if Daniel Bryan and Brian Kendrick were watching this show, and the rest is history. Because that's right when they went down to train with Shawn. It was 99.
I think they were already there.
Anyway, the other great thing about this is, this fucking guy, he doesn't get an 800 number to call his wrestling school to sign up. It's a fucking 900 number. You gotta pay him.
That's right.
It's incredible. The absolute gall of Shawn Michaels to charge people to call him for information about his wrestling
school. His wrestling school, yes.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
The McMahons come out with a ladder. Austin chases them away. And the ladder is, when they leave, it's set up. You know, it's set up like an A shape. And Austin wants to hit Bossman with it, but for some reason he can't get it folded. And so Austin's stalking him and stalking him and stalking him. And finally he's there, and Austin says, fuck this. And he just wings the open ladder backwards and clunks Bossman with it. I howled.
Can I talk about Vince?
They come back out. Yes.
Okay. Vince and Shane are out watching the Steve Austin versus Big Boss Man match. They're here to scout. So Vince, this was the best thing on the show. This is what I love about pro wrestling. Vince is a classic goddamn fucking idiot babyface. Steve
Heel.
Austin is wrestling in the ring. Heel, I'm sorry. Usually it's baby faces, so I'm sorry if I got confused.
These days, yes.
Yes. So he's a classic fucking idiot bullshit heel. He opens up a ladder, and he puts it right next to the announce table, and he climbs, and he's sitting on the ladder to watch the match. So Steve Austin starts brawling down at ringside, and the boss man is going to slam his head into the announce table, and Austin reverses it, and Vince McMahon, this bumbling moron, he ain't paying attention. He's looking around at something else. And so Steve Austin notices him standing on top of this ladder, and he walks over there. Vince still is not paying attention until Austin has lifted the ladder like 2 feet off the ground.
Yes.
Vince suddenly realizes, whoa, I'm fucking going backwards. He looks down. He swings his arm in a circle. He looks back. He looks forward and his eyes grow wide. And he takes what can only be described as a pratfall onto this table.
Yes.
Now, as funny as this was, he hit the fucking back of his head on the monitor.
Ow.
Yeah. But it was the funniest looking thing you've ever seen. It was everything. This is why the Attitude Era won. Because of the Steve Austin, Vince McMahon interaction.
You suggested this before.
Vince fucking embarrassed himself at every opportunity with Steve Austin, and it was never not awesome. There hasn't been one time where Austin has humiliated Vince McMahon, and it has not been phenomenal. And this was another one. And later, Vince just gets up and keeps watching.
Yes.
They just did it because it was funny.
So they do a match for a few minutes. Boss Man tries to use a nightstick. It fails. Austin hits a stunner and wins. As if there was ever any doubt about who's going to win this match when Steve Austin pinned Big Boss Man. These people were so happy.
Yeah. He was a popular guy.
He was beloved. Before we move on here, I was doing some research to determine precisely when Kendrick and Danielson arrived at the Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy. And all it says is in 1999. But I do want to share this tidbit from Kendrick's Wikipedia page. It was there that Kendrick adopted the ring name Spanky, a nickname he was given due to his method of staying awake during long drives on the indie circuit. And yes, the words, his method of staying awake, are a link to exactly what you think a guy named Spanky would be into. That makes me laugh. So yeah, Austin won. After the break, the corporate ministry, very disappointed in the Big Boss Man. They'll beat his ass. I guess he's out of the group now. This.
Ah!
Val Venis comes out. They're playing his music, and he's got I think he had a towel on, but he's angry Val. Throbbing with rage, you could say. And he gets in the ring. He just says, Pritchard, send them out now. Because we at home are supposed to know that there's a guy in the back named Bruce Pritchard who tells them when to come out. So Albert and Droz start to come out. They begin to air an Albert promo that was taped earlier in the day. It is cut off when Val wipes them both out with a dive. The match had not even begun yet. I had to hit pause to start writing shit down. So apparently, a few weeks back on Heat, Al and Droz had pierced Val's nose. So Val's out for revenge.
without his permission.
Yes, against his will. So Droz gets cuffed to the post. Albert took, I wrote it all down. He took one dive, even half a dive really, because it was on to two guys. He took one kick, one punch, one kick, one punch, and then he is helpless as Val Venis hits him with a top rope splash. This was Albert's Raw debut. What?
I think he was on last week, wasn't he? Am I imagining things?
Maybe like a video or something.
Anyway.
So they cuff Albert's hands to the rope. Val opens the piercing kit. Time passes. He exposes Albert's thong and tattoos a VV on his ass.
What he does is he pulls down Albert's fucking pants. Mm-hmm. His bare ass is hanging out on national television.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to believe that Val Venis is tattooing VV on his bare ass. It's actually a W.
That too.
Maybe this plays into something else. Maybe there's a W coming. I don't know. But it's horror. If you have not seen this, Val Venis tattooing VV on the bare ass of Prince Albert, it's exactly as horrible as you would imagine.
Like, this is a forgotten segment because I'm assuming this went nowhere and this is the end of it, but it's really one of these all-time stupid Monday Night Raw segments ever.
That's saying something.
Val tattooed VV on Prince Albert's ass.
Yes.
And it took a long time to do it, by the way.
Against his will.
Yes. Road Dogg, X-Pac, and Kane versus Mr. Ass and the Acolytes.
So Mr. Ass is a stupid name.
For a stupid guy, apparently.
It's really dumb. So X-Pac says, listen, I'm not gonna bitch about getting screwed, but I want those tag belts on the line tonight. The Acolytes are the tag champs.
Yes.
Mr. Ass accepts on their behalf, and they're very, very upset.
Yes.
And Road Dogg actually says, well, as usual, the Acolytes talking out of their ass. That was a clever line.
You like that one?
That made Mr. Ass pay off. But now we can move on and get rid of that stupid fucking name and bullshit theme song.
Match went a minute. Ass pinned X-Pac with a Fame Asser onto the belt for the win, and then he left with the belt, which is not his.
Yeah.
GTV, everyone, caught Al Snow picking his nose and eating it.
Yep.
This company won the war.
It did. Tells you how bad the other side
Nitro
was.
lost to this shit.
Yep.
We had Seattle Seahawks Hall of Famer Cortez Kennedy in the crowd. And if you're trying to figure out why Cortez Kennedy was at Raw partying in Memphis, it's Cortez Kennedy, and that's where the party was.
Hey.
Big Show versus Hardcore Holly.
This is such a forgettable period in Raw history. I don't remember any of this shit now. Bob Holly and the Big Show and a nothing happening match.
Bob Holly comes out and says, "You're the Big Show, I'm the Big Shot." And he's meandering his way through this promo. Jim Ross is begging him to get to the point. Eventually, he challenges Show to a hardcore match, and Show accepts. They brawl backstage. Bob Holly throws a trash can at the Big Show and misses. Think about the level of talent that takes to miss the Big Show with a garbage can. So they go in the parking lot, they throw Holly into a wall, and Big Show attacks some random guy and then pushes a car off a ledge onto Holly. Now,
this is what I'm talking about, this being a forgettable period of Raw. The Big Show pushed a car off a big-ass barricade and crushed and allegedly almost killed Bob Holly.
We are to believe this car fell onto the prone body of Robert Holly.
Yep.
As he lay on the cement.
No memory of this whatsoever.
Now.
At least it was a beater.
I know sometimes, often in the show, I will bitch about how they didn't even do a finish. They could have ended with Big Show pushing the car over the edge. I would have believed and bought it that Bob Holly was done for and could take no more. But no. Big Show had to walk down the stairs, walk over, and plant his foot on Holly's chest, and the ref counted 3, just to make sure we had a winner.
Hey, we got to finish.
In this loser getting hit by a car match.
We got a damn finish.
And you know Bob's going to be just fine next week, by the way.
Maybe 2 weeks.
So here is where Show is walking back into the building. They just leave the camera on him. Albert passes by in like a yellow jumpsuit, and he takes like 4 steps, and it's Albert. He's almost as big as the Big Show, and he's yellow. You can't miss him. He walks by, he takes the 4 steps, realizes he is on camera, does a spin turn, and walks away. My Mans and Stooges sucked. Talked about Jack Briscoe having back surgery the night before. Shamrock runs in and attacks Shane. Vince flees. Shamrock chases after Vince. The Stooges start beating up Shane. The Mean Street Posse hits the ring. The debuting Joey Abs hits the ring. Now, we have had in this match interference from Ken Shamrock, Pete Gas, Rodney, and Joey Abs, and that's all fine. But then they pull out chairs. That's a DQ.
Yeah. And once again, the Mean Street Posse just randomly back after losing that Loser Leaves Town match. I don't think, maybe on the Heat or on a pay-per-view they've explained why they're back, but as a Raw viewer, I only watch Raw, I have no idea why they're back. And then there's this big-ass Joey Abs. They finally got a worker.
Yes. Triple H versus The Undertaker. The action was quite good, but this was 2 heels, one of whom nobody at that point thought was on Taker's level, so nobody cared about this match. There were a few guys chanting steroids. I don't know why.
Yeah, like who?
It's hard to tell.
Was it Undertaker, Triple H, Chyna, the referee? Did they think all 3 of them?
Maybe.
That's the best they could come up with during this match. That should tell you about the match, by the way.
Yeah.
Undertaker versus Triple H. Think about this. I believe it is next week that Rock and The Undertaker break the viewership record.
Yeah.
And they set the record which will never be topped. And here we are a week earlier. Undertaker's in the ring and the fans are bored and chanting about steroids. It's incredible.
China tries to attack Taker with a chair. Taker blocks it, and then Rock runs in and hits a rock bottom on Taker for the DQ. Then Rock points to the ceiling. Because for months, really, Undertaker has been strapping men to his symbol and women to his symbol. So Rock went out, and Rock got his own symbol. And this big, giant fucking Brahma bull, like his tattoo, starts to lower from the ceiling. It's legit smoking and snorting, and fires coming out of its nostrils. And
I just love shit like this, because, like, Dwayne Johnson knew that there would be some opportunity on Monday Night Raw to get into the ring with The Undertaker on the go-home show. And so he went to a smelter. He said, I've got this idea. I want a giant metal Brahma bull. And I want you to make sure that it can snort. I want smoke to come out of its nostrils. Then he talked to the folks at WWE. He had them hoist it up and tie it to the ceiling. Mm-hmm. Apparently nobody noticed it all night long. This is fucking ridiculous.
Yes. So the symbol lowers. Ministry runs out. Boss Man runs out to fight against them. Everyone flees. Paul Bearer is left behind. He ends up strapped to the symbol. And I believed they were actually going to raise Paul Bearer above the ring.
Not after Owen.
This was a few weeks after Owen died. I thought they were that clueless. So that was it, everyone. That's the go-home show for King of the Ring, and it sucked.
Yeah, Paul was on a symbol when the show ended. Mm-hmm. That's the end. Cool.
How long does my music go?
35 seconds, I believe.
I'll probably need to loop it again.
All right, we're ready?
I'm ready when you are.
All right.
The finishes on this show were no finish because a two-way was turned into a three-way. Pin in a three-way after a fourth man attacked the first man with a stick. Clean pin, which right now I couldn't tell you what it was. Maybe Austin. Victory via
Edge.
Oh yeah, Rock versus Edge. Victory via slam off the middle rope. Match canceled because one guy doesn't want to pretend that he's banging his mom anymore. Clean pin despite ladder and nightstick spots. No match due to ass tattoo. Pin after a move on a belt with the tag titles on the line in what wasn't a tag team match. We didn't even mention that. The tag team titles were on the line in a 6-man tag team match. Pin after a car was dropped on a dude. DQ due to chair attack after 4 dudes ran in and it was not a DQ. And a DQ due to run in the main event. That's 1 2-hour program.
How many matches were on that fucking show?
Thousands. None of them were any good.
How many were on that show? Like 8?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That now I am counting matches that were announced but it didn't happen. They were canceled.
I see.
But still.
So 9.
8 actually happened.
Oh my God. Jesus. What are we doing with our lives?
We're watching terrible, terrible television shows that everyone fondly remembers inaccurately.
Yeah.
Well, let's go home.
Was it Fontaine? Who was it that said that Ronda Rousey got a reaction like Austin in his prime on Raw? Because let me tell you something. I'm watching these goddamn shows, and she did not get a reaction like Austin in his prime on these Raws. That's one thing about the Attitude Era. Austin was so over.
That's true.
The Rock was so over. And Vince was so awesome. The rest of it is just, it's horrible. But anyway, we talk about it every week, so I won't bore you. We're out of time.
I'll bore you next week.
Yeah, I'll bore you again next week with another. It's not my fault. I didn't write these 2 shows. I'm just recapping them. Filthy Tom Lawler's going to be on tomorrow. Dave will be on tomorrow. Observer Live will be on tomorrow. Special guest Kevin Sullivan.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Oh, it sure is. Talked about the Varsity Club, maybe some of these Nitros, MLW. He's in the Battle Riot, I believe, coming up in New York for MLW.
Nice.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff going on. He lives up on, I think it's Bainbridge Island. Yeah, one of the islands around here. So we'll talk to him tomorrow. And that is it. So we're out of here. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Adios.